Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel. This is Mr. Gibson Guy. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm back on the subject of film cameras, and this particular subject is talking about Nikon cameras and lenses that were low end but still very high quality and entered you into the field of Nikon photography for budget prices. Now, of course, all those cameras and lenses, that's all stuff from the past, so we're talking about all vintage now. But most all of the Nikon stuff has the prices had bottomed out a number of years back and started going up as people started collecting these things and getting back into more people interested in film photography. So we think of Nikon as the high-end brand, which it was. They mostly made professional cameras, but they also made consumer cameras that were budget cameras that had all Nikon's quality with them and most of the features. They would take a couple of shortcuts here and there, so you could just buy their cheapest camera. But even today, some of these cameras, the ones that I have here, are all cameras that you can find with with a Nikon lens that's supposed to be on it for under $100 right now. And this is at the beginning of 2024. Maybe right on the border. They're just a little bit over, but $100 should put you into any of these cameras that we're going to be talking about. And then I'm going to add something at the end which may be less known, and that is that Nikon chose to, for efficiency, leave a few features off of these cameras. But if you know what you're doing, and I can show you how to do it, you can beat Nikon at the game and you can put those features back in. And they're actually available to you if you know the tricks. So follow me while I go on with this, and I'll take you through these cameras. First one that I'm going to show you, this is going way back. This is a Nikomat. Normally it was known as a Nikomat, but this is a Nikomat. And Nikomats or Nikromats or Nikomats, either one. This is pre-auto indexing. You see it has the regular pin in the saddle here like this. So this works the way the old cameras did. It's heavy duty, it's very solid, and it works, and it'll work for a couple more 100 years, I'm sure. They did an excellent job with these things when they made them, and it's a real workhorse. It's a little bit large. It's going to be heavy hanging on a strap around your neck, but it is a perfectly good camera, and you can find this all the time with these really nice old Nikkor HC 50mm f2 lenses for under $100. I think I got this one for 60. Yeah, I got it for 60. It had a couple of lenses that came with it that were newer lenses. And I just bought them to get the lenses, but this camera is also very capable picture taker, and it's a great camera for a low price. Nikomat or Nikomat. Nikomat. All right, put that there. Now, this is a camera which you'll see all over the place. This is from 1979, the Nikon EM. Nikon ran Nikomats for about 20 years or so, and then when they discontinued it when they replaced it with the EM. The idea was to make cameras more along the lines of the Canon A series, more plastic parts, more electronics, less mechanics to it. But this camera, even though you can see them just camera bodies for like $40 a month, that's it. That's all you pay for it. This has a metal shutter curtains and vertical traversing shutter So it has a 90th of a second sync shutter speed, mechanical shutter speed. It's very basic. It just has it up here. You can set it to B, set it to manual 90, or set it to auto. And that's auto exposure. You set the aperture priority, and the camera will select the shutter speed. The only other things you have on here is you have ASA here. This is how you set your film speed. In film photography, you have to set one speed for your film, and that's the speed that the film comes in, unless you're pushing it. That's a different, on digital photography, you can change the ASA every exposure. Well, you can do that here too if you want to, but the exposure ASA doesn't change on the film itself. And the other thing they have is this one little button right here that you press, and this is a backlit button. When you're trying to take a picture and your subject is dark and behind the subject is bright light, your camera is going to expose for all the background, and your subject will be underexposed. So with this, it gives you 2 extra stops of exposure to brighten up your subject and overexpose the background, but you still get the subject. So that's one of the tricks that they put on this, is just a 2-stop overexposure button, and that was it. But this is a good little camera, and it has a couple deficiencies, but we'll discuss it at the end. They can be overcome. Now, the EM came out in 1979 and 1982. The EM had been so popular, and there was so much demand for this, that Nikon came out with a high-end EM, which they called the FG. And that's this. It's basically a Nikon EM, but it has a lot more features on it. Here on this side, we have your ASA dial you can be setting, and on this side, we have the exposure compensation, where you can overexpose by 1 stop or 2 stops, or underexpose by 1 stop or 2 stops. You just lift this knob and you twist it, and it moves whatever lines up with the little red button, the little red dot there. On the other side of this one, we have all the shutter speeds you can set for manual exposure: 1 second, 2 half second, 1/4 second, 1/8 second, 15th, 30th, 60th of a second, 1/25th, 2/50th, 500th, 1/1000th of a second. Those are all manual settings, and you get a match needle inside the finder that shows you what the recommended exposure is. And you get an A for automatic, which is the same as this, where you set the aperture and the camera will select the shutter speed. And then here's another feature that this camera had. This was a feature-loaded camera here, and it's just an EM. A program mode. This isn't even Nikon's official first program. This is before the first program camera was in 1984. If you're shooting a digital camera, it's programmed. These cameras, this was brand new, where the camera selects the shutter speed and the aperture for the exposure of your picture. You just focus and push the button. So this gives you a lot of different things you can do with this. It has a self-timer on it again, like the other one. It has the lens release button, has the 2-stop overexposure button, and then there's a lever over here you can flip down. And what that does is it turns on the little piezo in somewhere hidden up here. And if you are in automatic exposure and your f-stop requires your shutter speed to go down to a 1/30th of a second or lower, you'll get a beep from the camera saying beep, 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 beep. Raise your aperture so you can get a faster shutter speed, or you're going to get a blurry picture. And you can have it off, or you can turn it on. It's up to you, whichever one you want. So that gives this a lot more. And one more very important feature that they threw in on this was crazy. The only Nikon that had this before this camera was the F3 and the FE2, which had just come out just before it. And that is through the lens flash exposure. That is, your flash unit connects to the light meter inside the camera, and the light meter inside the camera controls the flash unit while the flash is flashing. And that was the most advanced flash measuring that they ever came up with on that. And they put this on this little Nikon EM. Now there's one fourth camera that I'm going to mention here before we go into the remedies, and that is the FG20. This came out in '82. In '84 they came out with the FG20, which did not have the through the lens flash exposure and did not have the program exposure. It only had auto exposure. But other than that, it had the other stuff on it. And it was an intermediate model between the basic EM and the advanced FG. It did not sell very well. If people wanted to get this stuff, they wanted to go ahead and get the other stuff. You take the most important features off of this, you might as well just have this. So, EM, FG20, and FG. EMs you can buy under $100 with a lens easily. FG20s, probably the same subject. FG itself with the Nikon lens on it is going to be right at $100, or can go down a little bit, but then that's going to be a pretty beat one. But let's do the last part of the subject. Maybe people are waiting for this. The real shortcomings, two of them on here, one of them on here. The one that's on both of them. Oh yeah. This has one shortcoming that it does not do, and that is that this camera, with all the bells and whistles they put on it, they did not put a depth of field preview button on it. There should be a little button you push right here that will stop down the lens and while you're looking through the finder before you take your picture, and you can see what is going to be in focus at whatever aperture you have the lens set to. That is a big advantage because it will be a darkened image, but you can see just what you're going to get and what you're not going to get. Wide open, which is how metering always works, f1.8, wide open, the aperture is big, and whatever is your subject will be in focus right in front of your subject, and right behind the subject will be out of focus. And as you close down your aperture more and more, you increase the depth of field. Here's your subject, something in front of it. The more you close down, the more you get in front, and the more you get focused in the back. So all you have to do, if you don't have a depth of field preview button, is you set the lens to whatever aperture you choose, and then you press the button and you turn this part way. Now it's still in there, but what happens, I don't know if you can see this in there, but the aperture has closed down. See if I can bring this open. Yeah, I can see. All right, yeah, you can see that. See that? See the aperture closing down? And then the aperture opens up. Now, shallow depth of field here, deep depth of field here. And all I had to do was turn this part way. See there, it clicks back into place. Get it there, well, it's still caught, and then you go a little further and it'll come off. But that's the way you can see the actual depth of field of your photograph before you take it when you don't have a depth of field button. That's helpful for this one. Now the FG, of course, we already discussed that it has an ASA setting dial, and it has exposure compensation dial where you can choose plus or minus 2 f-stops of light. But the Nikon EM only has your ASA dial on it. It says ASA here. But that Notice that the ASA and exposure compensation dials are mounted on the same dial. That's because they're the same thing. Now, I don't think this is working close up here, but I have the dot set on 400 because this is running 400 speed film. If I turn it to 800, now I still have 400 speed film, but I'm exposing it as if it was 800. Now that's going to give me one extra 800. It's going to give me one stop under exposure. And if I set the 400 up to 1600, it's going to give me 2 stops under exposure, just like if I was doing an exposure compensation knob. Now, I have it on 400. I can set it to ASA 200, and now I'll get 1 stop over exposure because this is faster film. It's 400 speed film, but it's going to be exposed as if it was 200 film. And then I can turn it to 100, and I will get 2 stops over exposure. So I have my same way to bracket my film, multiple, 5 pictures of the same image at 5 different exposures, all just by resetting the ASA dial. So you can use that exactly the same as you did it here, because it's doing the same thing. Notice when I turn this, it's the same thing that's going on over here. They're both on this dial, and so it's the same thing. And that gives you, well, you don't have full manual control. You have 5 stops of exposure compensation to overexpose or underexpose your picture. And if you can't get the picture with 5 different exposures, you probably can't get the picture. So, I hope you enjoyed this, or look at some budget Nikons. You can do some really interesting photography with under $100 Nikon cameras. And these are going to take pictures just as well as an f3. You are an FM or whatever other, an f2, whatever other camera you want. You can get the same photos with these for a really low price. So I wanted to do this video. I'm going to tease now, follow up. The next video I'm going to do is on the budget lenses that came for the EM series Nikons. And I have some interesting exposure on those lenses. They're quite popular now. Some of them are getting to be kind of expensive and very collectible, surprisingly enough. They were not supposed to be that way, but I'll give you the full scoop on it on the next video. Thanks for watching. Drop me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Maybe you use a Nikon Mat or something, or an EM. They're great cameras, and you learn how to really use them. You can do a lot more with them than you think. Well, until the next one, this is Mr. Gibson Guy saying out of here. Bye-bye.